Hello, everyone, and welcome to Behind Closed Doors, a show where we go beyond headlines and unravel the real conversations and experiences and real lives behind people shaping the world. I am your host, Maurice Ogu. Today, we'll be discussing one of the most powerful events and forces shaping the modern society, the technology. From the early days of software development to the rise of artificial intelligence, we will examine how tech has evolved, the impact it has been giving our daily lives, the opportunities it creates, and the concerns many people have about the future. Discussing that with me today is our tech expert, Osita Ifedibo, who will be sharing his thoughts, experiences, and professional insights on the past, present, and the future of technology, with special focus on AI and software development. Osita, welcome to Behind Closed Doors.
Thank you. So far, I just mentioned Stefano, that's my name. And the tech industry, my journey so far, we have been around. I started a journey in tech as a student. That's far back then, 2002. And so far, it kept growing. And until I worked in some companies before we founded the Nexel School of Information Technology and Management. Prior to this, we were managing Nexel Systems Technologies Limited, which actually was the parent company, the Nexel School of Information Technology and Management. And so far, we have also come into other industries, things like we also founded some other companies like Bricks Resources and Technologies Limited and also Sabot Systems. These are actually tech, manufacturing, shipping, exports, and also production, software development. And then the Nexel School of Information Technology, which is actually the school training some of our tech enthusiasts. So that's actually so far. So currently, here is Nexel School of Information Technology and Management. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You have told us the history, how you have gone so far. But is there any specific area where you could say this is what inspired you into the world of information technology and software development?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, of course. My original plan as a young boy growing up was actually not really becoming a software, a computer, whatever. My original idea was becoming an aeronautic engineer. Fortunately, in Nigeria, when we were seeking admission, there was no school offering such course. And eventually, along the line, I got information that the then next Lekede Polytechnic, the Federal Polytechnic Lekede, was introducing computer science. So just to hold on before I go in get another school that will be offering aeronautic engineering. So I switched in and said, let me start with that computer science because I read some things about computer and somehow loved it. So while there, I also was preparing to go to then my school, Futo. Before, along the line, I fell in love with the course and I said I'm not going to leave the course. And so many things came. Then one of, it became kind of something inspires me because I watch a lot of movies, see what they do, and see tech guys coming up, and I was so fascinated to join such group, and that was actually how I got so motivated into that course. And so far so good. It has been so a blessing, has been a good journey. Delving and remaining there. So far, I've worked as a junior software developer. I've worked as a junior analyst, and then becoming senior software developer, and then founding a company. So it has been a very smooth point.
Okay. So, yes. What are the major changes can you say you have seen the world of software development? I mean, can you say 10 years, 20 years, 30 years back, and what we have today?
A lot. Tech industry started like locomotive. You say locomotive, you say then it was more or less like we having zeros and ones, and then all of a sudden we started came into machine learning. Actually, when we say machine learning, it's not what we have today. It's machine learning. We actually call it machine language. And then we have what we call the money. And then we now get into high level languages. So you start hearing some of you hear Java, you hear PHP, you hear so many of them C++, C Sharp. Okay, these are actually high level languages. In fact, we started with very high level languages that are no more in practice, like basic programming. We have Fortran, we have Kogo, we have Pascal. So these are actually programming, these are actually very locomotive, but they were very intuitive as at the time they came. But today we have high level languages that can go very far. So we hear about Python, we hear PHP, and so many other ones, which actually helps in what we have today in the tech industry. Like when you talk about AI and the rest of them. So these are actually the softwares that help us delve into that. So we'll definitely have maybe details, like if time can permit, go into details about that.
Yeah, we will talk about AI. You mentioned AI. We'll talk about AI in a moment. But let me just ask you, there has been a lot of debate going on regarding what is the usefulness of technology in our world today. From your own point of view, what can you really say? Has technology helped humanity, or has it just created more and more problems for us?
There is nothing that comes into this world that is purely good or purely bad. Technology has been a blessing. And then to an extent also, it has exposed so many things that maybe ought to have remained silent. Today, let me start with the bad so that we can enter the good. Today in our world, you see whole lots actually going on the web there. Children accessing sites that are not meant for them. Some underage ones also, accessing information that would have remained silent. Maybe you don't really digest it well, and somehow continue to break the society. Because the information may have been better when it's past when they are matured. So that's actually the wrong part. But on the good part, the tech generally has been blessed to the world. Because I remember back then, when to communicate with someone who is outside the country, we actually have to go and get a card, NITEL card, stand on queue sometimes, you might not even be able to make call that very day, and then you have to go back and come back. But today, in the comfort of your home, the comfort of anywhere, you can actually make call through any means. And then, not just that alone, we look at then when we were in school to actually access the internet. We have to go to cafes.
Yes.
And sometimes as students, to save money, we book all night browser. So where we actually spend the whole time because we don't have devices, and then to access the web was actually like enrichment stuff. In fact, it's not even fun. So these are some of the problems solved by the introduction of today's tech. So in today's tech, we have all these as advantage and so many more. So that's actually let me keep it there on the devices and the rest.
I understood the part where technology has really helped us. We can sit in the comfort of our rooms and make calls, and but do think, as some people have argued, that we are too dependent on technology. Do you think technology is just eating up our lives every day?
In Africa particularly, especially our country, Nigeria, we are actually overdoing things. Yes, on the wrong side. The tech is not meant to consume us, but tech is consuming the uninformed. For us that are actually in the training industry, we tend to help our young ones to understand these basic things. If we over-depend on tech, especially AI, you will grow to find out that in 10 years' time, you lose your thinking system. So, the coding, programming is meant to develop your brain and not diminish it. And over-reliance on some tech-related or tech-improved devices, systems have actually eaten so much into the society, into our young ones community. I remember when we were growing up, if you ask a young boy, 2 plus 2, you answer it quickly. Answer 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus minus 18, you answer it quickly. 2 divided by 5, you answer it even related. And so many. But today, ask a young boy, 15 divided by 3 minus 2. We'll tell you wait. Because you want to use phone or use calculator. In fact, calculator is also gone. So mobile phone. So you use mobile phone. So you find that the thinking system is depreciating. Our value system is going down. So what we actually value now is more of what you see on the web than what the society produces. And at the end of the day,
we find ourselves going into the mess. Those things create that the society kills so many things. Tech in society, or the wrong use of tech in society kills so many things. So that's actually the wrong part. But the good, that's the good right.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned AI quite a good number of times. Now let's talk about what we need to understand. What is AI? A simple one.
the word AI simply means artificial intelligence. So when you say artificial, it means it does not originate from you. So when you say artificial, it simply means
someone has the knowledge somewhere, and this is using the knowledge from somewhere. So it's not really the original knowledge. So, and that's the reason why most times people allow, when you say AI, people rely. So AI simply means artificial intelligence, which means a human intelligence transferred to machine to act. Now, because that machine has the capacity of translating information within seconds and then keeping it correct and consistent, so many people now over-rely on that as being correct. Now, human thinks faster, thinks deeper, thinks logical. But these devices, this AI, is human fed. It's what you feed it. Sometimes it could be wrong. If you are not ingenuine enough to actually know or pick where it's giving you errors, you might also have what we call garbage in, garbage out. Taking in, okay, whatever it is, and based on what someone else has fed it. So that's AI.
That's why it has become so one of the most topics that's mostly discussed globally today.
Yes, AI, of course, came and is actually coming. What AI actually came into existence a long while from 1950.
And 1954, it was going to remain what it is today. And all this while, continue to grow. But the growth was not really that speedy, radical. But what you are seeing today, the form of data you are seeing today, actually came in from this 2002. In fact, 1998 or by 2002, where the conference actually developed the paper, okay, that we today we use in what we call AI, actually was built. So that's actually how it came. And since that time, different companies have produced different forms, different things about AI, different forms, different perspectives, and different activities. So the AI generally, it's or the coming of AI is actually predicted to take the future. Because if not your managed, it becomes thinking that of generation to come, generation and generation to come.
So some people have argued, because you mentioned the future, the generation to come, and even the present day. And some people have argued that AI is really here to take up people's jobs. So may I ask you, how do you think AI is changing our jobs, our lives, our businesses, and everyday life? And how can people really actually benefit from AI?
Really, that's good. Don't worry. The tech came in to assist and take the role of man. But when a man is giving in himself to that what is meant to assist him, when what is meant to assist him becomes the topic, then it becomes the principal, why he becomes a substitute for it. So AI is meant to help us in the delivery of certain things that you do daily, while you will have the whole time to now grow higher. But today, people sit down in their houses, in their offices, and develop systems that do the work, and yet they are not developing themselves to grow further beyond that place they have been, where AI came to meet them. And that is actually, when you say the fears of AI taking the jobs, by the time you finish feeding the AI to actually understand your own job role, what you do every day, what you normally attend to every day, then the AI will take up that job that you are doing. But if you are using that principle for which it is developed, which is allow the AI, create a system with the AI to help you solve this one, while you think of something greater, then now bring in AI again to continue to grow with you. So if you relax because AI is doing your job, tomorrow AI will take your job. But if you actually follow the concept, the principles how AI was or why AI was brought in, then definitely you are going to keep going. As AI is also keeping going. That's about that.
So it means practically people really misunderstand the concept of AI and what AI has really come to do for us.
Practically.
So AI has really come to help humanity in the areas of productivity and not to really take up the jobs of human. Okay, that's fine. So let's move to technology and our society today. Okay. So, and in doing that, let's look at the institutions, like government institutions, like hospitals, and other government institutions. How do you think technology, vis-a-vis this AI we're talking about, can really help governments in the areas of security, in the areas of improving our healthcare system and education?
Of course, Nigeria is so backward when you talk about allowing tech to grow. Nigerian institutions are so backward. But take a dive into some our institutions, public institutions, their websites. We understand that some of them have not updated their websites since 2015. And how do these people to what is happening today? Say the tech is meant to help our productivity to improve. Unfortunately, our institutions, but what is driving the tech in Nigeria is private companies, private institutions, and not public institutions. The hospital, for instance, the tech, simply look at, it's actually some people in Nigeria. So it's not really about our brain development in Nigeria. It is about the government helping these institutions to grow. It's a Nigerian that actually developed some of things you're actually hearing about. Look at health. A Nigerian in UK developed a system, a tech to actually help in surgery. So you don't need to cut somebody to actually remove a hernia and appendicitis. You actually don't need to cut. You can actually simply just target the head and kill through just this simulated system. So we have Nigerians playing, very good roles outside the country, doing very well. For Nigeria institutions, Nigeria federal or state-managed institutions are actually a mess when you talk about this. The money, whatever that may be there, but it is poorly managed.
Okay, let's talk about social media. Do you think social media is shaping negatively and the way people think, especially the young people? Maybe they are consuming technology in the wrong way through social media.
Because social media is, I would say, it was meant to be a good thing in Nigeria, but
Frankly, it is damaging more.
So there have been this debate around regulating social media. What's your take on that?
Yes, that's actually the best way. If government can regulate what goes in, then we can actually be sure of what comes out. Unfortunately, the ones who are actually thinking of regulating, they are not really regulating it per se, rather they are intimidating. When you regulate, we have countries who are actually, far above Nigeria when you talk about in Africa, when you talk about tech. And these people, they are not bad. In fact, even if there is, but you can record less than 30 or 40%. But in Nigeria, you see that, social media is actually causing a greater percentage of problems, evil, and destructions that we are seeing today. We talk about insecurity once we talk about earlier. See, social media, a lot of our people, young ones, if someone wants to go out, he's actually telling people on social media, now I am going to so place, it's just 2 hours from here, I'm going to be there, and my coming back is in the next 2 hours. Now, what is it saying? He's actually telling the enemy behind that he's not going to be around in the next 2-3 hours. So, what does that mean? They can actually target whatever they want. Now, you're also telling people where you're going. So, the enemy also could target you. And because he knows where you're going, and he knows where you're going to get there. So, you see the wrong use of social media. I saw a woman sometime, she was advocating the other way around, but because it happened to her, she was preparing the son to school, and what she gives the son, how she talks, what they do, and then only for her to find out that her son was taking adopted at school, because those things that she says to the school, and what that actually happens in their house, everybody knows. So the enemy studies our movements up and down. I was able to target and I got the son. Fortunately, the son was recovered, but what if not recovered? So she was now advised. So imagine such a situation. So we are using social media in Nigeria so wrongly. So wrong.
So can we also apply that to the use of AI? These days you can generate tons of images and videos of people of anything and label it anything we like. So can we also apply? Can we also say that government should also come in and regulate the way we use AI,
Yeah,
or just allow AI as a free flow market and then one does whatever they like?
AI of today actually just tricked the world. So all over the world, the regulation of AI has not really been effective, but it could if more effort is added. So definitely, the country needs, Nigeria particularly, needs to regulate AI. Otherwise, in very few years to come, a lot of damages will actually happen, both in the private, in the family, in the government, on the use of AI. So AI needs to be regulated, seriously regulated.
Okay, you mentioned that if you don't regulate AI, it will be damaged in the nearest future. Now let's talk about the future. The future really. Let's talk about the future of technology. In the coming years, let's say 10 years, what do you think will become of technology and AI? Where do you think we find ourselves? Okay, you mentioned that if you don't regulate AI, it will be damaged in the nearest future. Now let's talk about the future. The future really. Let's talk about the future of technology. In the coming years, let's say 10 years, what do you think will become of technology and AI? Where do you think we find ourselves?
Because there are a whole lot of parts that have not actually been enforced. But in 2004, I was involved in a research where actually
on emerging technologies. And some of the things then that was in that book, in fact, I stumbled upon that book I think a few years ago, about 3-4 years ago, and I was like, wow, so we have a lot. So the AI was part of those technologies, emerging technologies at that time. And there is also ones that have not come. And they are actually here, but they are not yet solely enforced.
So could you give us an example of those emerging technologies we should be looking at in the nearest future?
We have what we call neurology. Yes, it's actually having neurons. You know, AI or part of AI called deep learning. Okay? That is going into that. Now, first we have what we call neurons. Okay? Now this actually, human neurons are wired a lot of information signals. So this actually is to help, your thinking. Now the human or AI neurons are to store millions of data. Millions, not even just millions, billions of data, and process them within just a couple of seconds. And this is technology that is still coming. Now we also have AI in health, not even just tech in the health generally. We have not, that actually have not been used, or it's not really in practice in the country. So some countries like Sweden, they are already running this. Not mentioning US, but US, when you talk about US, they are like, where the whole thing is actually happening. And China as well. These are actually people who are continually investing in research, tech research. So there are whole lots that is still coming. By in 10 years, what you see today, it's just like, a stepping stone. What is going to come? In fact, just talk about 3 years, 4 years.
Okay, at present, I'm aware that Africa is behind. You just mentioned China, you mentioned US, where all these things are happening. Well, if we still have emerging technologies that are still coming, and the ones we have at present, Nigeria is still lacking behind. So where do you think Nigeria and Africa will be in the nearest future?
Unfortunately, Africa generally is still dependent on what the Western world, the Asia, what they give us. The reason is that the African leaders have failed woefully. Otherwise, in the tech, if you go to China, just like in the economy, they are saying the Asian economy. We have European economy, we have American economy. We don't have anything called African economy. So Africa depends on the West, the Asian, and that's exactly also what tech is. It all depends on what they give us. There are a team that we are just still forming. Actually, we are having some understanding to look at how to develop African products for Africa by Africa, and that is this tech. Now, if you go to China, some devices produced in China cannot function in US. The reason? The US can detect what is produced in China once they actually take the device and shut it down, and it will not work. But can you do that in Africa? Because we don't even have anything to detect which one is coming from which. So we don't even have our own. So we want to think of how do we create start African development, African tech development. That's exactly the only thing that will make Africa independent of generally what the world outside gives.
So now, what do you think is actually slowing down this destination and having our own thing, African technology? What is actually slowing us down? Is it government policy? Is it willpower? I don't think it's brain though, because we have the brain. So what do you think is actually slowing us down in Nigeria and Africa?
It's political, very political. Very, very political. Of course, when you talk about what could be slowing us down, it's so much that bringing them in, it will take a lot of time. But let me just start quickly. We have a lot of our brains and actually outside. I mean, African brains. I listened to one South African legislature one certain time was actually talking about the situations. He was talking about what's happening. In fact, he was trying to relate what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening in South Africa to what's happening in Nigeria. And he was talking about a South African then, or a group in South Africa, kicking against somebody who was actually vying for presidency in US, and this person was not really in South Africa. Sorry, he was not originally from South Africa, but he nationalized in South Africa. This person grew up in South Africa, went to school in South Africa, and served everything in South Africa, and none want to come out. And someone was telling that this is if you go to his country, that students think of leaving South Africa. Now, this is a brain developed to South in South Africa and the South Africa. And he was talking about that he was relating to Nigeria. That Nigeria does not value the brains. They value the quota system, and the quota system is still in Nigeria. So now, the tech are the ones who are good. When they look at the job system, they want someone who is good, just good, to come and serve someone who doesn't know anything, who don't even know left from the right. So when you bring policies, when you bring this person doesn't understand it, simply stay in the office and cancel the OT, and you want him to continue. You simply start his green passport, pay his flight tickets. So now these things discourage this growth you're talking about. Now you talk about, so that's in Nigeria and some other African. Then also the West also influences that a lot. Now we are talking about economy. Our economy is in shambles because we have people who don't even understand what it means to even manage economy, to be managing that economy. And at the end of the day, what happens? The economy drains or goes down. That's exactly what's happening in tech.
The ones who should be there to take care of this are actually not the ones that, at the end of the day, what they bring out is not enough to grow what we have indigenously.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take a break. By the time we come back, I'll be asking you what skills do you think young Africans, young Nigerians and young Africans should be learning to remain relevant in the future. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. This is Behind Closed Doors. Today we are discussing tech. Before we went on break, we were discussing about technology, Africa, young people, and Nigeria. So, Osita, we were saying that looking at the future of technology, what skills do you think young people should learn to remain relevant in the future?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, in today's tech world, we have a couple of skills which the young ones definitely should be looking into. We have the major one should be software development. Okay, software development. What today we talk about web, talk about a device, okay, like we talk about some operating systems and the rest of them. So we mostly talk about software development, software engineering. Then we talk about cyber security. Now, of course, data is growing. A lot of people are going into the web, going into the tech, some with good intentions and some bad intentions. So cyber security is a very good prospect for that. Then we look at, now we talk about AI. Yeah, AI is shaping the world. So, and there is no bad part to the AI. I mean, going into AI. So it's a very good prospect. Then we also talk about data science, data analytics. Of course, there's a lot of data is produced today over the web, over the use of the internet and the rest of them. So it's a very good prospect. We have a couple of them. We have mobile device, mobile management. We have automation engineering. We have cloud computing. So these are actually lots of areas that today, when young ones actually come around, to encourage them, because this is things that you can never go wrong with. By the next 20 years, they are still in use because they will still be very useful.
Okay, this is a follow-up question. I know we have a lot of young people watching us right now. What advice do you have for young people who want to learn tech?
Of course, firstly is the zeal. You know, a lot of people come into tech to come and try out, and not really because that they are convinced that this is what they want to do. So the first thing is that conviction that I just want to do this. So what we actually encourage them to do is, first of all, get convinced that you want to do this, and then you come in.
When you come in, don't actually look at what you gain first. That's what kills a lot of people. Look at what you want to take out. And what you want to take out or take into you will then invariably project you to the world. We have one of our students that today they are doing so well, or graduate students, they are doing so well outside there because they listen to this. And some who didn't take it actually ended somewhere and some shifted career, but majority they actually in practice and they are all doing very well.
Okay, finally, how optimistic are you with the future of technology?
For the past 24 years, I have not changed career. I have not changed area. I can only compliment because I know that the industry is kind of an industry that will not die in years, centuries to come, to continue to be impactful, and to be useful, and to be productive. So, very optimistic. What we have in the tech industry today is just a tip of an iceberg of what is coming in the future years. So, tech
still remains one of the industries that remain so unbeatable, so undying. That's appreciate.
So, where can we find you, your social media and whatever? Where can we find you?
Oh, okay. Personally, my name is Sife Dibosita.
Just type videos. You definitely see. If just the name alone, Sife Dibosita, you see a lot of video, you see a lot of information about you, you see the handles, you also see the company, and see the Nexus School of Information Technology and Nexus System Technology. You see a lot of things about us. Just type type Nexus web in Google, and then you see you follow a lot, you see a lot of us. So my name handle for the company, just type Nexus.
Yes. And I think to get the spelling, we should you will see the correct spelling on the screen.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, and that brings us to the end of today's program. Behind closed doors. A very big thank to our guest, Mr. Ifedigo, for sharing his insights, his experience, his knowledge with us regarding artificial intelligence, technology, software engineering, and the future of our young people, the future of Africa, the future of to everyone watching, thank you very much for being part of today's conversation. I am Maurice Ogu, and this has been Behind Closed Doors. Don't forget to share, like, and follow us for more. Thanks and stay blessed. Bye.